Just like a quick overview on me. I started playing Project M 2.6 era. I think
Okay.
like I watched a YouTube video at the time of this guy. He's like a Zero Suit Samus main, and he was like, "Yeah, this is the game I like to play," so on and so forth. And it was before Smash 4 was out. It was that lull period of like Brawl, in between Brawl and Smash 4, and yeah, I like fell in love with like Project M. It was like I like Melee, but like
Mhm.
it's hard to get into Melee because there's so many characters that are kind of bad in a sense. Um,
Yeah, I'm
the
a Link main, so I
Yeah,
understand.
if you want to play Ness in Melee, you can't. You just
Yeah.
can't do that. Um, but that's why I kind of like enjoyed PM, is because like even in 3.6, like they managed to like keep every character like as balanced as they possibly could be. And that's
Hmm.
that's what I personally really like about Project M, and that's why I like made videos on it, because it's like so interesting of a mod. Like I would say it's like of that point, like where it feels like it's its own thing. It like elevates above Brawl. Like there's some mods out there, they just kind of add a thing or two. Like Project M is like its own thing, and it's so like it's kind of magical that like a group of people just got together and they were like, we're doing this for like the love of this game, of this mod. And I see it through. Like I'm a Ness main myself, and I love playing that version of Ness. That's my favorite version to play. I really liked Ivysaur back then. I still like Ivysaur. Um, but yeah, like the game is just like really balanced. Like even in 3.6. And in Project Plus, like you can't play Bowser in Melee. You can't.
No.
Yeah, that character is so bad. You can't do anything with Bowser in Melee. But in Project Plus, and even in 3.6, like there's so much depth to like every character. But yeah, you go over what you did in Project M, maybe how you got involved, stuff like that. Go ahead,
Yeah.
man.
So I'm trying to think of even like a timeline now because like honestly, I'm gonna have to freaking pull up some like Wikipedia stuff to even get years because it's been this long. But so I was in it from the pre 1.0 days,
Okay.
which admittedly was a lot easier to get into development back then
Yeah,
because
yeah.
as long as you sort of knew the very basic ins and outs of brawl hacking, that was sort of good enough. I mean, I was involved in like brawl hacking when Brawl Plus was a thing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I wasn't part of like that development team or anything. I was just one of those sort of like obnoxious outsiders who would like weigh in on everything. And I'd like make test builds and I'd be like, you should try this. Or I think there was like Link's forward air in Brawl, and I think since then has been like the two hitter where the first hit's the weak shitty hit, and then
Right.
it's supposed to combo into like the second finisher. And I hate that. I started back in the Smash 64 days. Like I'm very much like, you know, I was 100% on the like the shuffling forward air like stuff. Like that's how Link's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And so I remember like way back when, God, there's probably Smashboards posts on it where I was just whining and complaining because they had it good at one point, but then they tweaked it and like reverted it back to the more like two style hit. Anyway, so like that's sort of like I was the obnoxious person who was wanting stuff to be better. Um, and what got me um, into actually like doing Project M development is like shortly after it was announced. I wasn't around, like I wasn't in the dev team when like the very first trailer was out, which as far as I know, the first trailer is actually one of those videos that's actually been scrubbed from the internet these days now.
Yeah, it's hard to
Um,
find those early trailers.
it's really, really hard to find. The very first one, it used a song from Slumdog Millionaire,
Oh, really?
and yeah, like
Wow.
and I actually I have the song saved now because of that trailer.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, it was a developer named Shanus, who's now he's like totally removed himself from the Smash. Like
Uh,
we were friends on Facebook, like during development and stuff, and years afterwards. And I remember he like made his video private for the trailer at one point, and I was like, I messaged him and I was like, dude, can you like make it public just so I can download it real quick because I want it for like archival purposes. And he unfriended me in
oh
response.
no.
So like,
Damn.
yeah. So anyway, I keep rambling, but no, I what got me into actually developing was they were trying to um, sort of start to port animations over for characters, and one of the big ones is Ganon's melee, his Captain Falcon run, where he's
Yeah.
leaning forward and actually looks powerful as compared to a very pregnant woman or
Oh
something.
yeah. Brawl
He
Ganondorf.
looks like he's 9 months pregnant in his like.
What did
Brawl
they
and,
do to him?
the very upright, like that's not even with.
They made
I hate
him
it.
really slow, and he's like the worst character in that game in Brawl. He's so bad.
Yeah. And so, I don't know if it's any easier these days, but when like we were dealing with very primitive tools back then, Brawl Box is great, but it's come a long way since back when it first came out, and it was super difficult to do running animations. I don't remember what it was about one of like the values you needed to do. It's like there's this combination of like the character, like when they physically run across the screen, making sure their footsteps actually like match with like frame timings, and making sure their feet aren't sliding as they run. And if you don't do it right in the program, it would actually your character wouldn't run properly. You'd move forward and you keep snapping backwards as you were moving.
Right.
And so it was like a complicated thing. And I had done I'm a huge, obviously, a Golden Sun fan, and then the other character, which was never going to happen.
I was gonna ask that, how much of a Golden Sun fan you were. I was gonna ask that too.
I probably beat the first game like 4 times, I'd say. I've actually only beat the Lost Age once. Just it's more bloated, and I've only played like half of Dark Dawn just because it's not good. But
I'm like more of a normie. Like I know Isaac through Smash. Like that assist trophy is probably the first time I saw him. Like I'm not even kidding. And then when I made the video, I was like, I don't like. I could look up these moves, but if I get one wrong, like the Golden Sun fans are gonna come after me. And I've done that before. Like I think in my Ivysaur video, I call her a she. Because on the Project M webpage...
We canonically made her a she.
Yeah. On the
webpage,
webpage, she's called a she. But obviously in Pokemon, it could be a male or a female. So I get comments to this day where people are like, Ivysaur can be a man too. And I'm like, well, on the website, so it's... I just was like, yeah, that's the hand move. This move is really strong. Like I just kept it simple for myself. But yeah,
you have to worry about your Ivysaur pronouns. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming like when you worked on Isaac, you had to have like loved the character. Like these are people who are like, I love this character. I want to work on this character, and that's cool.
And it was enough. Like this was back. That stage of Isaac development, I think, is like. Smash 4 stuff had started really coming out because we definitely like seen that as like, oh crap, Smash 4 is coming.
Yeah.
And that's when like the whole like anime swordsman trope got like really kicked off, was when when Smash 4 characters were starting to get because you see Shulk and I'm trying to even remember all the other Smash 4 characters, but it got sort of excessive, and I remember like being like, I want to do Isaac, and they're like, you want to do an anime swordsman? I'm like, no, he's different, okay? He's not the same.
Yeah.
He's got magic and stuff. So yeah, I'm older than I think a lot of Smash people now. I'm almost 32.
I'm 22, so yeah, you got me by 10.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
It's fine,
man.
It happens.
A decade. So like. I was the perfect age for like, I mean, I had an original Game Boy. I played that in my youth. I grew up with a Game Boy Color. I got the first Pokemon games when they first came out, and so Golden Sun was like, I was definitely in that like RPGs. I was definitely like old enough, and back then it was considered like sort of mature to I was doing other, Final Fantasy and stuff
Right.
as well. But Golden Sun, I remember seeing like the trailers for it. Like there was this. I think the very first Golden Sun trailer was like a really weird one because there was like it was like in an opera house or something very similar, and I remember it was this like film noir, like black and white with like chandelier, and like it was this very wanted to be mature, which Golden Sun isn't. It's it's a kids RPG.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but like I remember being like the perfect age for Golden Sun when it first came out and being so hyped and thinking that the graphics were so incredibly realistic looking, and it's not, but I'm still a fan of it.
Yeah.
I've definitely I've played the first game. I'm trying to think. The last time was probably like 5 years ago now. Just time flies. But yeah, huge Golden Sun fan. Like I was saying, also Super Mario RPG.
That's a great game. Yeah, I love that game. Gino, please be in Smash one day.
Every single it hurts me every single time he gets the whole like Mii costume, and especially this one. Like in Ultimate, it's like it's even lazier than the Smash 4 one from what I've seen, and it hurts me because I know as the years continue, you're less and less likely to actually get Gino in anything. But
if it ever happens, the world will explode. Like it will pop off.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we got any hope of it, especially with like the Mario and Luigi game, like the 3DS port. They actually removed his cameo.
Yeah, he had a cameo in the first game. I remember. Yeah,
in the GB,
it's like a slot machine thing.
The juice thing.
Yeah,
and now he's not around, and it's just like, well, now the only thing he's been in since I don't even remember when the Mario and Luigi games came out. Mid early 2000s.
Yeah,
but like that's the last time he's been in a non-Smash game. So
yeah.
But so yeah. I was during the Brawl Plus days. I was working with Gino, or I was making a Gino. There's actually, I think there's still an upload for it. I don't know if it got yanked or something. I don't know if my like Mediafire or whatever upload got deleted. But I'm pretty sure if I Google Shadic and Gino, well, I'm getting some other stuff. Oh yeah, Project Gino. Yeah, I have a Smashboards thread. Project Gino, I think. First post extremely outdated.
What was the place back then? Was it Brawl Vault or something like that, or Smash? Well, I remember there was one website where you could download mods. Like it was like the premier place to go.
Yeah, it was Brawl Vault or KC. I mean, I think it's KCMM. KC-.
Was it like Kitty Corp or something? It sounds.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I remember. I was downloading Brawl mods when I was like,
Oh yeah.
In 2010 maybe or 2009. Like I was downloading like Ganondorf with a sword and like whatever I could get. that was what I did. I tried to get in Brawl modding like texture hacking, but like the thing with like Brawl is things are like very specific, and I was really young, and you get like one thing wrong, the thing's not gonna work. If you put it if you miss a zero in the like coding process or whatever, the entire thing is just not gonna work. So I quickly was like, I'm just gonna leave this for the pros, like the PM people and stuff like that, which that is my experience with it. I remember downloading off of Kitty Corp and Smash Vault and all that stuff. Those were the days.
And I also remember like it was so easy to freeze your game back then.
It was
like, and
it was
still that obnoxious, that high pitched beeping sound,
and it was like almost okay. Like people expected it. Like it was like like it's gonna happen. You're giving Ganondorf a sword or whatever. Like something might happen.
Yeah, with some beeps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did one of the first probably like full kind of comprehensive character hacks of Gino, and it was honestly crap. I don't remember if he was over Ness or Lucas or I think he was over Toon Link.
Okay.
So it was Gino over Toon Link. But this was you couldn't do any real like moveset modifications,
It
like in
was very
terms of
primitive. I
animations.
remember back then.
Yeah, you could do hitboxes and stuff, but you couldn't visualize anything. And when you ported animations, you it was only literally like a character per character. Like, do you remember seeing those like horrifying like Pikachu with Ganondorf's
Yes,
animations and he's all
yes, yes.
freakishly
He gets
stretched
that's
out and
like a
stuff?
meme. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that.
you can't back then you couldn't actually fix the like the bone scaling for anything. And so if you wanted to take an animation from another character, it would have to be a character who was like pretty similar in size. And even then you'd end up with like weird little animation glitches. So I took Toon Link and gave him like some Ness and Lucas animations because those are the only characters that were like sort of physically similar. And
Similar.
I like and instead of like I think it was like his down smash, like instead of having like a yo-yo, it was just like I just threw magic sparkles in there because that's all you could really
Yeah.
do back then. Um, anyway, so I had this like pretty comprehensive Geno build. It absolutely primitive these days. What people can do now is just crazy. And even, I mean, it was one of those like 6, 10 months after it came out. Like even then, like I think my thread flat out says like this is extremely outdated. Like,
Yeah.
but so that sort of showed that I had the the chops and like the work ethic to sort of get anything done. And that plus my Ganondorf modification that I did for him, and yeah, actually giving him a proper run is I submitted that to the like the three people that were working on Project M back then. And it was probably like 5 or 10, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, hop on in." It was much more casual,
But
and it was that way. It was pretty casual until I think we had our first like 1.0 or 1.5 release. Like it was a pretty like laid back kind of amateur hour sort of thing. It was just tons of us. It was very much like, oh, you're able to do this? Well, go ahead and do this for all the characters. Or in terms of like moveset changes, it was just like people didn't have like characters that they were specialized in. People like I did tons of modifications for like Sonic, and I'm not a Sonic mate. Like I'm not a Sonic player. Like it was just like I was a huge advocate for removing some of the spins from his moveset.
yeah,
Like
thank you.
I don't. Yeah,
you
I
did
think
you did
he
a
may
good
have
thing.
he may have kept that stupid down smash for the entirety of Project M if I hadn't complained quite so much. I liked Sonic Battle quite a bit, the Game Boy Advance fighting game.
Yeah, I played
And
that. Yeah.
he has tons of like awesome moves from that. And I remember being so disappointed when Brawl came out and being like, you had a game you could have just stolen stuff from, and instead you just gave him spins, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this,
His
and
fair in
so
Project M is really cool. Like the
thank
kick
you.
where it
And
just
that
comes
that
out.
was a huge one.
Yeah.
Is and it's such a more interesting move, and we'd always have like huge development like fights between like there was one of our guys, Guru Kid, I think, was a like a pro Brawl player before he moved into like doing Project M development stuff, and he was like always on the like the Brawl purist side of things. He was very anti-splitting the Pokemon up because he was a Pokemon trainer main.
Oh
Like
wow.
yeah, like
Huh.
Sonic's forward air, he's like, but you lose the poking ability and blah 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 blah. It's like we don't care. We're just going for cool right now,
Yeah, the
Like
forwarder like can spike or whatever. It can make him fly down. It's cool.
yeah, like it's so much more like it's visually exciting, it's unique, like the vertical axe kick is just awesome.
I heard Zero Suit Samus was a character that like people were arguing about like what to do with her. Like I heard there was like arguments over keeping the her grab from Brawl,
Oh
and
yeah.
like instead they were like, oh, let's experiment with like giving her a regular grab. But there was like some people were like, no, we like the tether. Like keep the tether from Brawl, please. Like I've heard she was one of those characters where people were like fighting about probably all the time.
Yeah, it was. I think she may have been one of our most contentious characters, actually. And yeah, it was like all about that. We were like, look, we have you have the grab, sure, but then you have the side B, and it's like it's a very like visually similar and like thematically similar. Like we were super, depending on the developer, you know, who was working on stuff, of course, but some of us were very like, you know, you aim for like the thematic character, like aspects of the character, and then you sort of figure out how to balance it and like make it work from there. And you know, sometimes you just have an idea that doesn't work. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
But like you got to try at least. And like Lucario was a huge example of that. His whole Magic series crap, like
The Tekken aspects of him, yeah. My
like
friend really loves that, by the way. He's like a Tekken fan. He's like, I love this character. This is all for me.
he's
Like,
nuts.
he's so nuts. He's
like,
crazy.
and like I've tried to play like Lucario in other like Smash 4 and Ultimate, and it's just
Not
like
the same.
weird. Like
It's not the
no,
same character at all.
and like he's a fighting steel Pokemon. Like you like the like Brawl and you know all the other Smash games went so heavy on like the aura aspect, and they're like, oh, make him floaty. Well, I mean everyone's floaty, but you know, and just making him that like grounded fighter. Like I think he's more interesting and like
I agree. I agree.
less polarizing even than like a character like Ryu.
He has more personality, I feel like, too. Like
Yeah.
the headbands, the alt costumes where he has the headbands, like those are all really cool.
It's just funny because we totally, you know, cribbed a lot of like Street Fighter stuff. And
Right.
then, you know, Ryu ended up in, you know, officially in Smash. And honestly, like, yeah, I'm sure I'm biased on it, but like I like our like traditional fighting archetype more than what they did because like yeah, he's got the weird like he always faces his opponent and some other like interesting stuff, but like we try and be a Smash game first
Yeah.
versus like I feel like the more modern like Smash philosophy is like very much like there's no way we would have done like Minecraft's Steve or even some of the other like super like character gimmicky things. Like Ivysaur having like a charge is like one of like the most extreme cases of like weird stuff we would do, or in healing, obviously.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think there's really been another character that heals, and that was one of those other like balancing that was super difficult. Just trying to figure out like one, if we wanted to do it, two, like do you do it to a point where it's going to impact the match? Do you do it to a point where you know like do you make it just a little bit of a flavor thing where every once
Right.
in a while you'll heal 1% and that's cool? And like I think we did figure out kind of the balance of like, well, it's only on the bulb moves and only with sweet spots, and so it's like it's never like part of the game, but it's also like something to keep in mind. So
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
I think that was really just kind of our overarching philosophy on everything is just make it work, you know?
You know what I liked is like Project M did certain things that like the Smash series would like later do later. Like I remember you guys like fixed Ike's flame. Like Ike.
That was me.
Oh,
That's
that
me.
was you. Wow, you. Yeah, I know Fire Emblem, and like Ike is canonically has the blue flame, but like
He's
for some
literally
reason
called
in
the
Brawl,
hero of Blue
exactly,
Flames.
exactly. But in Brawl, they gave him red flame. I have no idea why. Maybe to homage to Roy or something. I don't know. But you guys fixed it, and then like later in Smash 4, like originally they gave him red
Yeah.
flame, and then they changed it. Like they're like, oh wait, fix it, make it blue, and it was blue ever
Yeah.
since then. And
Yeah.
things like Olimar's Pikmin count, like that was something done in Project M's first, because like I remember in
Dropping it
Brawl
down,
he had
yeah.
like 6 Pikmin, and then later in Smash 4 they're like, oh yeah, let's like nerf it down to like 4 or something, you know. Which there was a lot of things
Yeah.
that you guys did that like I feel like this. I don't know if Sakurai knows, but like I feel like somebody had to have known. We're like, hey, these are some good ideas, like in here, you know.
Another big one for us was Donkey Kong's dash attack.
Yes, yes,
'Cause
yes.
I don't know. I can't remember if he had the stupid leg kick in Smash 4 or not, but it's definitely a roll in Ultimate.
I think in
And,
Smash
like-
4 they changed it, but it's slow. It's like really
Okay.
slow. Yeah. That was the
And-
first time they changed it.
That was one of our changes where it's just like it's so obvious, like you have to, you know.
It
Like,
makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
you play the game, it makes sense. It works.
we're all we're all fans of our various games, and that was the team lead Shell, who was the primary on that. He was one of those like jack of all trades sort of guys. Like he was a talented animator and very talented at coding. And so he did some of that, the like more intricate stuff. He also did like Kirby. We kept the I think we kept it right, the up B where you could angle it,
Yeah, you could do it like
the
vertically and
forward
then like
cutter.
horizontally. Yeah, you can go
Yeah, that
both
was him.
ways. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That adds a lot of depth to Kirby.
Yeah, and I feel like it was better at one point. I think we ended up like having to nerf it quite a bit because I don't know if it was just like super quick or what it was, but like maybe it was the hitboxes on it. But it's one of those ideas where you do it and then you're like, all right, well, let's figure out how to kind of make it work.
Yeah. So how
Uh,
was so you guys were like I remember in the beginning earlier updates like 2.6 all that stuff. It was you guys like slowly added characters,
mhm.
later on. And then you guys eventually like the biggest thing for Project M, I think, even like I remember the reveal trailers for these characters was the Roy and the
Oh yeah,
Mewtwo. Like that was the craziest stuff because like I remember as I said, like I knew brawl modding back in the day, and you couldn't add like characters without replacing an original character. So if you wanted to add like a character, it had to replace Marth or it had to
yeah,
replace Pit. But you guys like were like you had the clone engine, which was like crazy for back in like 2012, 2013 even, to like separate a character and then like edit it over it and make it its own thing. That was incredible, honestly. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. We were super super excited to get that going. And I mean, I know like little leaks and stuff come out because we'd have our devs like play test with people and word spreads and everything. So like some people did totally know about Roy, but I was actually impressed with how many people didn't because we had like test builds where like I remember we were kind of secretive on it where we'd have our Roy file, but you'd have to like put it on your SD card before you go out, and it wasn't like even when we had the clone engine stuff working, we'd have a separate like main build versus a clone engine build where
Oh,
some would have
nice.
Roy on the character selection screen and some wouldn't, and some you could just like select
That's
Marth
smart.
and it would like be Roy instead.
Oh, okay.
Um, just to because
Hide
you
it.
don't want to
Yeah.
like, or like if you like, you'd forget and like you'd have like the clone engine like build on your SD card, and you'd go to like a Smash Fest or something, and you're like, oh crap,
You left it
never
there.
mind,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roy was first.
Okay.
Obviously he was much simpler because 90% of his animations are taken from Marth. And actually, as development continued, is when we kind of started to split off stuff. Like the whole like idea of like a single spin, or not a single spin, but a continuous spin neutral air. I was a huge like advocate for the down smash. Just
It's so good.
pick,
Yeah. I
picking
love
those
that
moves.
version of Roy.
Yeah, picking those moves that like sucked on. I mean, well, everything sucked on Roy, but like that really weren't a huge part of his moveset at all, and just like making it unique and like but still sort of similar, like the down smash isn't that much different. Like it uses a bunch of the same like hitbox like stats
Yeah.
as his like melee down smash, I believe, or what we had for his down smash at the time, or his neutral air. Like it's still like a two hitting like thing, but just making it a single spin just makes him totally feel like a different character. And same with his side B. Like his side B, we were like the that was Silent Doom. God, I think he's changed his
Varium, I
online name
think.
since
Yeah.
then. Yeah. Um,
He was involved with Knuckles like pretty heavily too. I'm pretty sure.
yes,
Yeah.
he was super instrumental on both those characters. Halo, Haloed Hero, Halo. He was the primary Mewtwo guy.
Okay.
He did like everything. Like he set a goal of like it was like one or two, maybe even like three animations a day for like all of those like
Did them from
'Cause you think
scratch
of a
too,
character
right?
as-
He did them like from scratch because
Yeah.
I know back then you couldn't like just like import it from Melee. It's easy, you
Yep.
know. Like you had to. He looked at it and he did it all on his own. Like that's insane.
And not only that, but he was doing it with in Brawl Box, like basic, because we didn't have the ability to like import animations from like Maya or 3ds Max either. So they were so part of animation is like, and I'm a miserable animator. I did some basic stuff, but like I wouldn't do a move from scratch. That's part of why Isaac never got finished. That like a big part of animation, like when you're using like an actual like animation software, is to be able to like lock a bone into place and move stuff around. Like you know how like when a character charges, like you know they do that like where they're shaking up and down really
Right.
fast.
Right.
Um, like to do that in like in a normal animation program, you could just lock that character's feet to the ground and you could move them up and down from like the waist. You can't, well, at least you couldn't do that in Brawl Box before. If you would move their hip, their legs would always like if you move their hip up, their legs would go up. And like you had no ability to like lock bones or anything. And so he did all of those animations for Mewtwo like manually like keeping his feet in the same spot, the same rotation. Like it took 10 times longer than it would have
Oh my
would have
gosh.
done in another program, much less being able to import stuff from LA. So he put a
He
lot
did a
of
great
effort
job.
in. Yeah, he
He's
did
really talented. Very he's super talented.
fantastic. And the amount of just man hours put into that. And like
I heard it
a
was like over
character-
thousands of hours, like just stacked.
Yeah, I think he straight up said it took about 1,000 hours of animating, and a character isn't just all of their attacks, or even walking and running. There's also all the weird little like holding an item, holding a light
Yeah,
item,
using a sword, stuff like that.
using a sword, using the bat. Like everything has a unique animation. Or like being stunned or being asleep, or like when a character tumbles, like there's when a character's in tumble and lands on the ground, they can either land on their back or land on their stomach, like, and they have different roles based on that, like,
Yeah.
and like the get up attack is different. Like there's just a mind-boggling amount of animations that go between behind every character behind the scenes, and he did all of those. For Roy, we just stole him off of Marth, like, problem solved. But for Mewtwo, like, everything was done from... You couldn't take anything from Lucario, like... he's got the giant tail and the weird physiology, and they kind of needed, you had to use Melee as an inspiration anyway. Like, he'd have, like, a Melee, like, the animation, like, overlaid on his screen while he was, like, to actually,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
match all of those.
Wow.
Like, it was nuts, like...
It
to
was
him
for a
that.
good effort because I believe Mewtwo King, the Smash player Mewtwo King, one of the best in Melee. He even said he was like the Marth and Roy and PM is like his favorite version of those characters because like it's not like in Melee where like Roy is trash, you use Marth instead.
Yeah.
Or like in Smash 4 where like like Roy is kind of very different. He has very different aspects to him. But like in PM, you can choose different characters based on the matchup. So like you're like facing a floatier character, you might want to use Marth, or if you're facing a Fox or a Falco, maybe you're like, hey, maybe I'll use or Roy this time around or whatever. So it was very interesting. Like I think those characters were done very well. And like I know when Mewtwo first came out, he was like busted, right? Like he was I made a video on that. Like he was so busted, right? But over time, like even the 3.6, like you guys figured it out. You guys kind of had a good way of like figuring things out. I do remember in 3.0, like things were a lot more like, yeah, sure, give like Ness this, give him PK Fire on Shield or whatever. Give let's try this crazy thing out. And sometimes it would be good, but sometimes it would be bad. But you guys would like figure it out the next update or something like that. It was cool, and I liked how things ended. Like where like the cast was all at least pretty viable, even in Project Plus 2, as that went on too as well.
Yeah, there was a huge like change in philosophy after 3.0, like all the way up until that we had so much of that like buff don't nerf mentality, and that went from like bread and butter combos to recoveries, and Project M30 to 3.5 is like it's a totally different game,
Right. I
and
remember that
it was
update. It was crazy.
and that was a very contentious
Yeah.
update, with everybody. Yeah. Even, the dev team, like not everyone was 100% behind it because some people were like, "Oh yeah, people just recover. Like that's cool. Like that's part of the game." Like and
Yeah.
there's others
Project
like I'm
Recovery, they called it back then. I remember people would joke around. Project Recovery,
yeah.
everyone can get back on stage. Like,
Yeah, and uh I was I was probably more like neutral up to 3.0, and then like definitely like watching like tournament footage as people got better and better on it. It was just like there was a concern of like of match times and everything else, just like, and it's just keeping things sort of like kinematic and exciting. Like I think that's a flaw from the Smash series from Brawl on, is that like 90% of the cast just like gets back on stage.
right, Smash
And
4, that's a big issue in that game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially Smash 4 and Brawl are just like you have a couple of characters that like weren't blessed with like the modern Smash recovery. You got like Little Mac, or like Link's recovery is still pretty crappy. I think they've gotten like a little bit better, but like Brawl Link couldn't recover, or Ganon, or a couple other
Ness
characters.
had some trouble in like Melee.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
um, and so you end up with this like good characters recover, bad characters don't, and it's just like you want to meet somewhere in the middle. You
Yeah.
want to like make off stage play more of a thing. I remember there was a playtester locally in town that I was doing a lot of stuff with. He was a Squirtle and a Zero Suit Samus main, which are both, I hate fighting both of those characters. Like
Yeah.
Squirtle's so small and slippery, and Zero Suit, has
She's
the
agile. She's really
she's
agile.
agile, and she has the paralyzer and stuff. Both neutral B and down smash, and it's just it gets to a point where it's like we shifted from like, is this fun to use versus like, is this fun to play against?
Right.
And I think it's a if you're only looking at it from the perspective of a player, it's very hard to like make that sort of like mental adjustment, that and that's why I feel a lot more like kinship and sympathy towards like modern game designers, where like you're constantly fighting a like, is this good for the game? And I think like kind of culturally there's been more of an understanding and a shift that way, because it used to just be like people would just like make up ideas. They're like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like Breath of the Wild plus like Pokemon plus like adding in like, I don't know, like World of Warcraft? And you're like, where do any of these mechanics like mix and match and
Yeah.
stuff? And there's been a whole lot of like kind of like long term or long form like YouTube channels. Like I'm a huge fan of like Game Developers Toolkit, or a couple others. I'd highly recommend those. Like they break down very much like, here's why things are structured. Here's the advantages of like this versus the possible disadvantages. And if you're a player that's intrinsically versus extrinsically motivated. And um, anyway, rambling aside, like we definitely had that change of philosophy from 3.0 to 3.5, and it was, I'd say, 100% better for just the overall like competitive health of the game. I think if Smash had, or if Project M had stayed in that like 3.0 sort of like mindset and direction, I don't think people would still be playing it nearly as much. Like people had more fun with their characters in certain circumstances, like Mewtwo. Mewtwo was just stupid crazy.
Yeah. Pit. I made a
Yeah,
video on
Pit.
Pit. Yeah, he was really good.
Pit was crazy. Kind of like I think Wolf was had some crazy stuff going on too. Like Sonic.
It was pretty much
So,
like every character in the cast had like something. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like someone told me that like Lucas's magnet, I don't remember if this actually could, but like
Oh yeah.
his magnet could break shields or something like that. Like if you did it well enough or something. I
Yeah.
That's what I
It
heard.
was it was instead of multi-shining, it was multi-magnet, and it was just like
Yeah.
it wasn't even as hard. And he has the huge magnet, hitbox in front of him, and so like stuff needed to be trimmed back substantially. And like I said, I think Project M would have like sort of petered out quicker as people realized like, yeah, it's fun to like take this character and totally break the game with it, but when everybody does that, it kind of sucks. Like,
Right.
not to throw shade at like Brawl Minus or anything, but I remember that definitely had that issue at the beginning where it was like, oh, cool, my character can do like crazy half the stage explosion things, but like
Yeah.
it's only fun for so long,
Right. Yeah.
Like
That's a
if
crazy
everyone
mod.
does it, like is it balance or is it just chaos? So
Yeah.
uh no, I was gonna say something. I don't remember what it was anymore. But I'm definitely glad we did make that change, and I wish that newer Smash games sort of took that direction too. Like Ultimate sort of did, but Ultimate has its own problems.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Ultimate either. The way platforms work in that game, I'm not really a fan.
Everything's just like
It's kind of
sticky and
slow.
like input lag, and that's a huge one for me. I'm
Yeah.
very like lag sensitive. Like even like the character selection screen feels bad to me. Like you
Yeah,
press
yeah.
right and like your cursor doesn't start to move for that half second, even on a low latency, TV.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Um, I was gonna talk more about the clone characters. I guess the my first time like interacting with the leaks, right? The leaks
yeah,
that the big ones, right? That's where Isaac's in and all that. I believe PM shut down in 2015, just kind of
yep,
randomly, and like you couldn't really like talk about it. Like I remember on the Project M Reddit, like you couldn't really bring up these like characters. You couldn't talk about Knuckles, you couldn't talk about
it is very
Lynn.
anti-leak. Yeah,
Yeah. So people on 4chan were just like gathering up and like, yo, look at Lynn's grab animation. Like, look at Knuckles. He's cool. Like, he was gonna be in PM or whatever. And I believe someone in the comments of the Isaac Reddit post, they're like, oh, they weren't cut characters. They were incomplete
oh god,
ideas.
that stupid pedantic argument. I
And
saw
that
that
was
post.
like, oh, okay, but like for everyone else, they're like, an average viewer isn't gonna see it that way. They're gonna see it as like that's a cut character or whatever. But what
Yeah.
incomplete idea, whatever cut character you want to call it. I remember the first time it was actually like kind of a cool experience. Like even though like they weren't finished, but like just being like, oh, like this is where they were going with Lynn and Knuckles. Like Lynn was my favorite personally because
Yeah.
I'm a huge like Fire Emblem person. I think
Oh
Lynn
yeah.
is like a great choice anyways. Like she's a cool character and she's pretty iconic. But I remember like getting my friends together. I was like, yo, there's these characters like that were gonna be in Project M. Like, let's play this. Like I know it's not finished, you know what I mean? They might crash the game, but like you could see what it was, and like I remember Knuckles like kind of felt like he had the most
Yes,
you
even
know
stuff there were like legit like should Knuckles be in 3.6? We had that
wow.
that talk. So yeah,
Wow, I had no idea. That's crazy.
yeah.
No wonder why he was like chosen probably for Project Plus. Like you guys were probably. I heard he was experimented with probably the longest.
hmm
I don't
And
know
he
when
was
it
sort of
started though. Was it like 2.0 or was it around the Roy and Mewtwo time period or?
it was around the Roy and Mewtwo time period. I'd say
Okay,
he definitely like kicked off earliest. We tossed around character ideas. Yeah, a
I heard
couple
that
of
as
us would
well.
just pitch. Sami from Advance Wars was one of them.
Yeah, she's in there
Um,
too.
and she a snake clone basically, but I think she was supposed to be basically like a little weaker but fat, sort of
She
like
seemed
the
more aggressive, like more,
yes, more
shooting guns or
fast
whatever.
paced,
Yeah.
which would have been interesting. I'm not a huge Advanced Wars fan myself, but like I definitely saw like the advantages of that character concept.
She had a
And
rocket jump too, I believe, like kind of like
Yeah.
a Team Fortress 2-esque like rocket jump. Like
It was straight up taken from Soldier.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it looks like. Like I was like, this
Yeah.
is kind of like if Soldier was in Smash and had like a gun. Like it's cool.
yeah, we had talks about that. We had talks about Pichu.
I heard that as well. I thought that was a rumor. Like that in my I uploaded a Smash retrospective and someone like must have been a part of the dev team like unloaded like a bunch of info. He was like, "Yeah, we experimented with like more characters than just like the ones you guys know. Like there was like concept art of all these characters out there, like I heard Dark Samus was like potentially, this was before
Yeah,
Smash Ultimate obviously, but
yeah. It's funny that we come up with these ideas and then they end up being Smash canon later. But
Yeah.
that was I don't think Dark Samus didn't get very far off the ground. This was more just an idea that I had sort of got. I wonder if it's actually in one of my test builds. But
oh wow.
I personally wanted Raichu instead of Pichu. I was going to be
Wow.
on the Raichu train, which would have been weird. But I wanted a slower, heavier, more like committed version of Pikachu. Like I
Wow.
thought that would have been a super interesting concept.
That would have been a
'Cause,
plot
like,
twist. Everyone
Yeah.
wanted Pichu, but you like hit him with the Raichu. I like that. That sounds cool though.
And I had like ideas for it too, like generally like faster like movement speed, like because normally you take a character and if you make them stronger, you make them slower. There's sort of that
Right.
it's a sliding scale, but doing more of like because Raichu is supposed to be at least like stat wise, Pokemon wise, it's supposed to be a faster Pokemon.
Right.
Pokemon don't get worse as they evolve. And so the idea of making him like faster in some ways, but also having like a little bit less like aerial mobility or something like that to sort of like one be a trade-off and two like flavor wise. But then like he would have had instead of quick attack being like the 2, which we talked about giving Pichu like a third one. And
Oh
so
my
he would have
God.
had this weird trifecta. Yeah, I
Wow.
know. Pichu would have been just bonkers with that. I think they would have been like shorter jumps.
Was
so
this
it
like
would
the
have given you,
2.0?
more
Was this like the
mobility.
Mewtwo Roy era, or was this?
I think so,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Wow.
then like, but I would have done the opposite. I would have given Raichu just like one big one, so it would have been sort of like a Mewtwo teleport or something. But that never really. God, kind of. I'm like actively looking through my old files now because now I'm just like.
Yeah. If you
morbidly
have
curious.
anything you want to show, let me know. Yeah.
Uh,
That's crazy.
yeah, Sami was probably just a step or two kind of behind Isaac in terms of like what stuff was going on.
Yeah.
But there was definitely primary would have been Knuckles, and that's why he's in Project Plus now.
It seemed like Lynn was like the second, I would say. Like I don't from personal just
Yes.
playing her. Like she had a few moves that weren't complete, but like her overall like move style and move set like seemed like it was there. I know she never got complete unfortunately, but that was my favorite character to use out of the like leaked characters. I really liked her. Using bows and stuff like that was cool.
Yeah, yeah. The bow was interesting, and that was before we could really do like add projectiles to characters super easily too, which was also kind of added to the complication of working on Isaac. That's why he was actually put on top of Toon Link. He was a Toon Link.
That's
clone,
what I thought.
like,
I was like he's
behind the scenes.
either taken from Ike or Toon Link. I was going to ask you that.
Because I think even I don't remember if I ever got it removed in like before development stopped, but like his side B hand, which is actually just like a hacked together boomerang without is a boomerang that doesn't come back.
Oh,
And-
okay. Nice.
It was that, but with like 2 big hitboxes that were just wind boxes or wind hitboxes, whatever you want to call them. So they would just push.
Yeah.
And getting that to like sort of work, I think it was pretty hacked together.
So
And-
yeah, you told me in the comments of what Isaac was kind of going for, but what like I guess to the viewers, like what were you trying to make Isaac? Like what was your inspiration? Why did you choose Isaac? Stuff like that.
So Isaac, my idea for Isaac was a character that was very like ground focused, sort of like conceptually almost like a middle ground between like but with a much better recovery. Like he started out his template was like Roy physics. Like I actually straight up took all of Roy's
Yeah, he was a
physics and
fast
like
faller. I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and ported them to Isaac and like tweaked a couple of things. Like it made him just like a little bit slower, I think, like run speed wise, because Roy's pretty quick.
Right.
And then I mean he's an Earth adept in the Golden Sun games. So he definitely would have been like ground focused, but I didn't want to like really I didn't want to Little Mac wasn't a thing yet, but like I didn't want to give
Yeah.
him sort of like the Little Mac treatment. I could see where a character that was exclusively ground based would go, and so he was. I'm looking at this. Isaac's a semi-fast faller, but has a weight of 103 and has poor aerial mobility. His run speed is fairly quick,
Wow.
and he had a
Kind of like Little
so
Mac, actually, but not
yeah,
too.
and
Wow.
and it's funny how much like sort of that idea that like Little Mac Isaac would have been much more mellow, but he also would have had a higher ground to jump momentum. Like if he like Melee's a better example of this. Like Captain Falcon's a character where like
Right.
almost all of his ground mobility like or ground speed translates into aerial mobility when he jumps or momentum. Fox is a character that's not nearly that case because Fox is also super fast, but when you jump, like he moves decently far, but he doesn't get his full ground speed, and that's a like Brawl and Smash 4 and Ultimate have cut that even
It's an
worse
engine
for every
quirk. Yeah.
character. Yeah, and but that's not a like an engine like function. That's actually just a character attribute in their physics.
Okay.
They just decided universally to make everybody suck at that. Um,
Sakurai.
no, his friction was pretty high. I upped his friction, so it would have been worse than like Roy's. Like he would have had a bad wave dash because his ground friction was pretty high. Um, in terms of like move set, had a couple of ideas. I think what was like in like any sort of like leaked out build was that B was just retreat, which is like the Isaac and Felix exclusive ability to just like teleport out of a dungeon.
Okay, so it
And
was
it
kind of
just
like, was it like a Mewtwo teleport in a way?
yeah, sort of. And it would have been, I
Okay.
think, a little bit more limited. You probably would have only had like a couple of, it would have gone up almost exclusively with, I don't know, like 15 degrees, possibly,
Got it.
And, again, this is all just sort of workshop stuff. It could have
Right.
been,
Right.
but one interesting thing is that it wouldn't have had a hitbox, but you could have actually attacked out of it. Sort of like,
Okay.
like a Sonic Spring or something. I don't know if it would have been like cancelable necessarily, but his neutral B, which like was sort of pieced together in the builds, was Ragnarok, which is I think he actually gets it pretty early on in the Fire Emblem games, but it's the big flaming sword that crashes down.
Yeah, I believe in PM Remix they made it so that sword just like explodes. Like they made like their own version where the sword just like goes straight into the ground. Was that something you maybe had an idea for down the line, or was it just going to be like a piercing sword?
It would have stayed in the ground for like 1 or 2 seconds and had an active hitbox in the meanwhile. So it actually would have been sort of like a trap.
That's really
And
cool, huh?
like Toon Link in PM actually sort of has that. Like his fire arrows will they do like a point of damage if you touch them.
Right.
They don't do any knockback, but Ragnarok would have. So
Wow, that's really cool. Wow, I like that idea.
and thank you. It would have been like one of those like I think it would have had like high startup and decently quick end lag and relatively. So it would like take some committing to get out and it wouldn't be like super easy to snipe people off stage with it, but that was actually like one of the ideas I had for it personally. It's just like if you could predict, if you could call out where somebody was going to go, you could hit them with that.
That's cool.
And it had
yeah.
a pretty beefy hitbox. I think it did like 15 points of damage or something, but it took like 60 frames to come out. So you're standing there for a second and a half, but if you happen to predict where somebody's going, you're gonna do some solid damage to them. Um,
And his
and
his
then
his side special was the it was like his assist
move, yeah,
trophy,
the move
right?
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so in the games, you use that as just like a puzzle element. Basically, you move objects around, um, and it's very similar to the assist trophy Isaac. I think in Ultimate they gave him more stuff to do, but
They did, yeah.
in Brawl he just appears and goes, "Ugh,"
Yeah.
and
I
the
remember
hand comes
that,
out.
yeah.
Um, and that would have been almost exactly what we were gonna do. It wouldn't have been like super big. I think the size that was in sort of like the build that came out would have been about accurate. So not a huge hitbox, but again, one of those like one you can use it to zone, especially characters with worse mobility, but also as an offstage thing. If you're fighting a character with a bad recovery, or if you can sort of call out somebody like doing a horizontal recovery move, you could just block it basically.
Right. That's what I
And
kind of thought it was used for too, yeah. What his down B and like obviously PM Remix is something completely different, but they made it like
yeah,
some buff nerf system. What was the? I can't remember what the down B actually was in the leaked build, or if it was finished.
I don't think I think it was very hacked together, and I don't know what it was gonna like. I don't know
It was early.
how. Well, I know what it would have been. It would have been the move Earthquake, which would have code wise would have been probably like flat out says this move would function somewhat similarly to Donkey Kong's down B,
Oh,
but it would
okay.
also be able to hit aerial opponents because it would actually be like ground sort of exploding around him.
Huh.
So, because DK's ground slam or whatever it's called, like that only hits characters that are on the ground.
Right.
But this would have had sort of a similar hitbox, probably a little bit slower, but would be able to hit characters that are in the air. Um, and it would. I'm trying to think, like, I don't know what hitbox stuff. It'd probably be sort of like moderate base knockback with low knockback growth, sort of. So not like a killing move, but definitely like sort of like another like option to sort of knock people away from you and sort of call out like a tech roll or something.
That's cool. Like Isaac seems like he was meant to be like a trap-esque character in a way. Is that
Yeah,
like kind of where you're going? Okay, that's cool.
yeah,
Because that's kind of how
uh,
Snake was too. Like Snake like was kind of built into being like a trap character, and I liked that iteration of
yeah,
Snake.
yeah. I think our version of Snake was the most like interesting and like competitively like
It was good.
balanced
He
version
was
of it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as Isaac normals, like his jab would have been pretty quick, and that was more of like a design implication of like or like competitive mechanics. Like he's a relatively slow character with a grab that wasn't going to grab if you're right next to him, so he needed sort of that quick like get away from me move.
Right.
And I think his jab was like it was basically like Ike's jab. I think his first one was a punch, and then his second one was going to be sort of a modified, like he would hit you with his like the hilt of his sword, basically. And so it'd be almost like a gentleman, sort of like a hitbox of
Okay.
maybe I don't know. You take somewhere between a gentleman and like Ganon's jab.
Yeah.
Just that sort of like GTFO sort of thing.
And you
Uh,
mentioned Isaac's grab was like you experimented with making it like only at like a far distance, right? Instead of like
yeah,
an up close grab. Like that would have been interesting. That would have definitely been
yeah.
really interesting.
In the range I was like testing out, I think the only character that would have like been able to be shield grabbed would have been like Bowser because he's huge.
Oh,
But
yeah,
like other than
Bowser.
that, like like a small character like Fox or somebody could have been a pretty good counter to Isaac because his mobility and his size would have definitely been a huge problem.
Right.
Um, but yeah, his grab would have been a huge like kind of polarizing aspect of his character where he wouldn't have a real functional shield grab. So I probably would have ended up giving him like a pretty good shield roll to sort of like compensate for that. Like exceptional for because shield rolls in melee are typically pretty bad. Um, so giving him at least, and you can change like how good like a backwards roll versus a forward roll is. So maybe give him like a really good back roll, um, just to be able to sort of get away from characters, which would
Right.
also it would add the flavor of like you could physically back him up to the edge of the stage, and then all you have is that crappy forward roll or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, his other attacks, like I said in that Reddit comment, like more or less all of his like tilts or his jab or even his aerials were all going to be more like physically based. So like his dash attack would have been pretty similar to like a Smash 4 Link dash attack or something where it's like
Really?
the jump to slash forward, probably faster. Um, that's inspired from just like Isaac's basic like attack animation in the Golden Sun games. He leaps forward and slashes. So you try and sort
Yeah.
of take inspiration from
That's
those games
that's
wherever you
interesting.
can. Um, his down tilt would have been kind of similar to, I guess, like Knuckles is. I can't remember if it. I think it's his down smash. That's sort of like where he attacks
Where he
on both
goes in the
sides of the move.
ground, or oh,
No, the so I guess it's his down tilt. Is that the one where he does like the fist sweep on both
oh yeah, yeah,
sides?
yeah. That's his. Yeah, it might have been different in P plus, but maybe some
Yeah.
earlier builds they had that. Okay. And
Or I guess the better example would have been like Pit's down smash
oh,
or
okay. Like
or
hits both
like
sides.
yeah, or
Got it.
Marth or Lynx. Lynx is a good one. You know, forward tilt would have just been like a big cut. I think Isaac or not Isaac, Ike's forward tilt was I think I modified animation for that. It was just basically a big, decently beefy. It would have had a like a low knockback angle, so kind
Right.
of like Link's forward tilt. I think I dropped the knockback angle of for PM. So like on like a fast faller, you could maybe get it sort of a surprising lower percentage gimp on somebody. You know, like you could pull it out to get like a KO at like 80% or something if somebody doesn't see it coming. Um,
The up
up
tilt, I
tilt,
believe. Yeah, wasn't it like a vine? Like I remember that
yeah.
vine. That.
And that was me. I think that started with my like I was playing around with his down smash and I was like, hey, I can just make an up tilt for right now. And
Oh
yeah, he
wow,
just sort of like does
it's
that and like the
fast.
vine appears. It's super
It's so
fast. It's
fast.
stupid.
It's one of the best parts of like I remember that fast up tilt.
Yeah. And I think it would have been a little slower. Like I'm gonna read my document here. It's he stabs his blade with one hand upwards into an upward stab at a slight angle. So I think it would have been kind of like an Ike inspired sort of thing. It says fairly laggy but rewarding on hit, and it would have been a solid anti-air. So I think it would have been kind of one of those like call out moves, like if you know Falcon's gonna try and like jump over something and knee you, sort of like
You can
you'd have
catch him
that
with
like
it.
yeah, you'd have that big beefy hitbox in front of you, that
Nice.
sort of thing. His forward air, I think I had like a working version of it. It's kind of like a
Right. It's like
Marth
a
forward air.
sweeping.
It's like the
Yeah.
two pretty disjointed, pretty low end lag. It would have been actually focused as a combo move, so you'd be able to like probably like shuffle it sort of. You'd get two hits on it, and then you'd be able to take advantage of his low end lag and like good ground speed to sort of like catch up with somebody as a follow up.
His up air
Um,
was strong too, right? If I remember, or was it like a? It was kind of like a Ike up air, or was it
I
different?
feel like a cloud. I think like for
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
I
think
remember
it would
that.
have been probably pretty. Yeah, it's his most powerful killing aerial.
I
Very
knew
high.
it. Okay, I was right. Oh wow, I literally
Yeah,
like winged that in the video. I was like, this might be his most powerful move. It seemed like it, and it was. Wow.
yeah. Using very high knockback growth, but low knockback base. So you could use it as combos for like super low percentages, but then it would quickly turn into a kill move. His back air, I think it was just that like backward stab
Right.
move, right?
Yeah. It was
And
like that in
it's
Remix too.
yeah, it's basically like a sex kick, It's like you can sort of use that would have been like I think his best like offstage option for like keeping people, if you were offstage too. Yeah, it's just a sex kick with a sword, which is pretty
Yeah.
good because you got disjoint on it. Even if it would have like kind of a mediocre angle and not great like knockback, like if you can steal somebody's second jump with it or something, like you're golden. Um, his down air was very like Ike focused. Like, Ike's is that big downwards cut. And it would have been like that, but like I I remember like physically rotating him slightly so he has more like horizontal coverage because Ike's is very like
Narrow, yeah.
you get like this much, hit back, you know, I mean
Okay.
slightly more than that. But like it would have basically covered like all of him below him and it would have been faster and I gave him like a spin because
That's his
why
neutral
not?
air, right? Or his
No, that
neutral
was
air
his
is...
down air.
Oh, that's his down air. Okay. What was his
Yeah.
neutral air? Was it
His neutral air was God, I think it was a ripped off Zelda neutral air, I think originally.
Oh, okay,
At
cuz
least in
I
that
saw
test,
that
like
build.
that spin.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I saw
spin.
that in the build. Someone made it like really quick. Like they made it like
Yeah.
faster. Yeah,
hmm
I saw that version. I was like, where is this going? But that's interesting. It was taken from Zelda.
Uh, and I think like I don't know which way I would have gone with it. There was either that or it was going to be something or it was going to be like an actual proper sex kick. I think I liked the spin a little bit more just because it was more unique, you know?
Yeah.
So many characters have a neutral air that's just
Yeah, they
a
have
sex
that.
kick. So like giving the spin also would have been, well, both options would have been a good like combo breaking sort of move.
That's what it seemed
But
like
just
it was. Like I saw like this guy trying to like play Isaac in a match, and they were using that neutral air like all the time to get out of combos. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those like if you have a character with that sort of like physics, like you need that. You need that combo breaking. Yeah. Uh, in terms of smash attacks, his forward smash would have been like a medium-sized rock would have appeared in front of him, and he would have
Oh, okay.
busted it up.
Wow.
I think in the current one, it was like a weird spin with like a fire explosion.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
just um, this would have been like visually more similar to like Charizard's stupid rock smash move, which
Okay.
like
Yeah, I remember Rock Smash.
that move pisses me off in like Brawl. Like I hate it. I think it's the dumbest looking move. But it would
Yeah,
have
it's
been
really
like
random for Charizard too. Like, why is
he
he?
just like
It's here.
yeah,
Douche.
a fire flying Pokemon pulls out a rock and hits his head. Yeah, it's just dumb. Um, but no, it would have been like a rock appears and then like a big explosion, like as the rock detonates basically, and that would have been like I don't know if I would have given it like a 2 or 3 hit multi hit, but it would have been slow to come out, but would have been very powerful. Like
Okay.
more on
Wow.
like the Ganon forward smash.
Was it like
terms of,
quick in a
power.
way? Was it, or it was slow to come out? You said okay.
It was slow to come out. I'm one of those like as a developer, I like to give a move either like slow startup with like fast end lag or like fast startup with low end or like slow end lag sort of
Right.
a thing. Like some moves gotta be both or neither. They gotta be quick or slow. But like I always like the idea of having a trade off where you're like, well, this move will take 20 frames to come out, but then only has 5 frames of end lag versus like this move is super quick to come out, but if I whiff with it, I'm screwed.
And
So
up smash was like really strong. Or what? Am I? I can't remember exactly.
yeah, up
Okay.
smash would have been very. It would have been in terms of like functionality, sort of similar to like a Lucas up smash or something.
Okay.
But like more like toned down, I guess. It would have had actually a bigger hitbox, but like a very focused sweet spot on it. So you would have had in the games, there's a magic spell that's called Gaia,
That's
um,
right. Yeah.
and that's one of his other pretty recognizable synergy attacks. It would function similar to Lucas's up smash. It'd be a very powerful single hit attack with decent disjointed range, but and like pretty long startup and end lag. So it would have been a pretty slower move. Like just like Lucas can sort of combo into his up smash, but it's not something you want to miss with. Um, so it would have been that, but there would have been like rocks would have been emerging from the ground, and there would have been kind of fire effects and stuff. Um, his down smash would have been
Was that
sort of
vines
flavored.
too? Was that like a
Yeah,
vine? I remember that.
yeah,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that up the work in progress up tilt. He would have like jammed his. I think the animation. I think I had the jab animation done, but I don't know if I had vines or something. But he would have put his sword in the ground, and then a vine in front of him and behind him would have appeared,
That's right. I think that's in there. Yeah, in that leaked build.
and uh, it would have like this would also have a sweet spot system. The very like tip of the vines would have been like the sweet spot for it, and those would have been like I think they would have had like a vertical, like straight up 90-degree hitbox, and that would have been like the sweet spot, like killing option. And then the lower down ones would have probably sent you more horizontally and been a little bit like weaker. I said the rest of the move sends about a 60-degree angle, which is bad unless it's a combo move. So I think that's
Do you know how Isaac's like would have moved like his wave dash or his like Dacus? Like, cause some characters, you know, have that stuff. Like, I don't know. Like Lucas has a great Dacus, you know, and stuff like that. Do you have any? Was that
I think
fleshed out?
he would have had. I do think he would have had a Dacus because of his dash attack does kind of like rocket him forward a little bit.
Uh huh.
I don't think it would have been great because his friction is so high. Because yeah, he would have been one of the highest friction characters, I'd say, about Link level.
Okay.
Just to sorry, I also developed Link, so he's one of the characters I have as like a reference.
I like Link and PM. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, other movement wise, he would have his jumps weren't like spectacular, but I think he would have had maybe a slightly above average second jump. I would have just said it's magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his first jump would be that like I think Link and Mario sort of jump around the same height, just kind of a mediocre like it'll get you on the first battlefield platform, but that's about it. I think that was sort of what I was going for, with a slightly better double jump, just because he is a fast faller, so I wanted to make him not so like one-dimensional in terms of like I didn't want Isaac off stage to just be death, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why also his up B would have been the teleporting move, is because you would have actually had literal invulnerability, so you could just like flat out nope out of situations, like to prevent somebody from just like throwing out like a sex kick or something in front of you or above you, and just like if somebody does that to like Link or something, like you die.
Right.
So the ability to like literally warp past somebody, I think, would have been super advantageous and would have kept him more interesting too. So
that's cool. Yeah. I thought Isaac was like one of the cooler characters in there as well, as long as my game didn't crash. But yeah.
He had that, and he had like it was like one of his like we had issues with his run was glitching out for a while.
Was it lifted from Ike? I feel like he had a similar run to Ike.
I think I took his run from Ike, but I think like all of his like general animations were like Ike cloned. So he was technically a Toon Link clone with like Ike's skeleton.
I made that assumption. I was right. I'm glad.
And that's just like that's a very like utilitarian sort of thing, because when you're one of the most important things for like saving time in terms of animation is your frame one of your wait animation. That's actually a trick that Brawl did with Fox and Falco. Is their very first frame of their wait animations are identical, so they use all of the same animations, all the same like common animations, or like rolling and stuff like that, or like getting attacked by or like spit out by Kirby or something like that. Like they share all of those similar animations, which is like 80 or 90% of a character's animations, because their weight one pose starts identical. So it means all of those animations will naturally transition into that shared animation, and then from there they split out. So Isaac and Ike had the same like two-handed holding a big sword in front of them animation, but then they would differentiate from there basically.
Yeah.
So that would have been a way to save a lot of effort.
I made that assumption. I'm glad I could tell from that. Do you know the guy who because Virium develops Knuckles, right? Do you know the guy who made? I don't know if he wants his name out there or not, but do you know the guy who made Lin? Is he still out there at all, or?
Lynn would have been, yeah, I can't even remember what. I just associate him as his name is Silent Doom. But is it Virium?
Virium made Lin as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
him and well, it was him, Halo, and another guy, Jang. He kind of went behind the scenes actually. He was actually one of the leaders of PM as well as myself. We had 7, I think. We call ourselves Jedi because we're modest.
The console or the council or whatever. Yeah, I heard that before.
Yeah, we were the Jedi Council. Trying to remember who all was in that. With myself, Shell, like I said, because we were kind of senior devs. Strong Bad, he was pretty prominent.
He made Wario.
Warchamp, yeah. Warchamp, who did like all of our later trailers and stuff, and our website. There's a guy named Yerok who was also like super old school developer. He was like one of our first Lucas devs and did some other stuff too. Halo, who did all the Mewtwo animations. SOJ, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's been pretty prominent. I think his like
sounds familiar actually.
His Reddit name is like SOJ_Smash or something. I think he's still pretty active on like the SSBM subreddit.
Okay.
And CMart, and she's pretty active as well. So, or was pretty active. I think she's kind of left the Smash scene. So,
do you know who was behind Sami?
Sami. God, what was that? Hold on. Sorry, I'm like literally digging through.
Yeah, no worries. It's been a long time, sure, too. So I know some PM devs like they just worked on their thing and that was their thing, and other people like collaborated a lot with other people. At least what I've heard.
Yeah, there were definitely different styles. Let's see. Van Rose was the person who did the model for Sami.
That would have been such a cool like character, like the aggressive, fast-paced snake, like that. That is a cool idea. I think I like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. DS22. He is actually one of the kind of underrated devs. I think he was kind of later on was one of our super talented. Like he was the one who kind of got the clone engine really functioning.
That was great, by the way, because like now it can be done with like other. I forgot the name of it. There's an easier way to add characters now, but like back then, like I knew that was like some elusive, code that you guys made. Like that was cool for back then.
Yeah, I guess Shell was part of the Sami development too. Sami was kind of a team effort. God, I think Guru Kid was part of that, but I could be wrong. Sami had a couple of people that were like, I think the problem was that Sami was like 5 people's like second choice, So
yeah, she wasn't a priority probably.
Yeah, like Jang, who was, a project lead and he's a very talented animator. He actually works professionally as I think he's a concept artist, but he's worked for a couple of like big studios in California. He was super good about he'd do like it was kind of obnoxious actually because if you wanted a move to be like this move and he wanted a move to be like this move, for example, Knuckles at one point, and it's what I wanted, his back air was originally was like more of a like a Ganon back air, that like backwards like kind of like
punch
backhand fist sort of thing. That's more of what Knuckles had at one point, and I liked it because accentuated his giant fists. And
It's an elbow bump, like it's a L. It's like
yeah,
a
and
fist.
all it took
It's
is
from
one
Dudley, I
sketch.
think, or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one sketch from him, which I can't even find it anymore, but he sketched up what it would look like if Knuckles did it, and it was, kind of exaggerated, kind of cartoony style. And people were like, "Oh my God, I love it!" And it took
I
one
feel like
sketch
I
for
might
people.
have saw that like concept art. Did he like work on a lot of like character concept arts? Like
Yeah,
I
he
wish I
did.
put up. He
He
might
did
have
a
drew
lot
like
of
Golduck
work.
or something, or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. There was a
I
guy
don't
who
know
like
how,
drew like all these characters with this type of concept art, and like it leaked like I think last year or something like that.
yeah. He also, I think he was the one who did the initial like concept art sketch of the eye patch wolf,
Okay.
like the pirate wolf, like the more retro styled one. I think that was he like originally was like, we should do this, and they're like, okay, um, which was fantastic, I
Yeah.
think, and I think that was sort of the basis for there's that like melee project now of like Wolf and Melee,
Right.
and I think they
He
sort
looks
of
like that.
it. Yeah, and that's not all us. Obviously, it's it's stealing kind of what he looked like from Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, and
Maybe the melee intro too, in a way, because he's
in the
briefly
Melee
there.
intro, yeah, because you
Yeah.
get that one frame of him basically. So,
I was gonna
but
ask if there were like other ideas, because obviously we said Dark Samus earlier was
mhm.
like thrown out. Was Black Shadow or like Dixie Kong any?
We did have a discussion of splitting Ganondorf out. Yeah. And I was actually a big advocate for that. But we definitely like when you're doing like a fan sort of thing, like you have more freedom in some ways and less freedom in others. Because like if Nintendo wanted to just be like, you know what, screw it, we're just making Ganondorf from scratch now, people would be like, hell yeah, finally. But if we were to do it, like you sort of end up like you don't want to alienate your core audience, you know?
Right.
And Ganon is like so iconic for Smash, especially that like more melee focused Ganon. Like we were super afraid when we changed to neutral B because we're like, we're getting rid of Warlock Punch. And that's actually what inspired us to do the sword
The
taunt.
taunt, yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. By the way, I thought that was a good way to like please people, because like you
Yeah.
get the cape, which is better for dealing with people that just camp Ganon, right? And that he has
Yeah.
nothing to do, but you can also have that hype move for his sword.
Yeah.
Like that was a great way to please both sides.
Yeah. And that came about, I think, when the Black Shadow idea kind of died. But
Oh wow, so there
we
was an idea for Black Shadow.
yeah, it didn't. I don't think it really got anywhere. Like not even like a test build or anything. But there was definitely an idea of like, all right, well, we can sort of unapologetically make Black Shadow a Ganon clone, or a Falcon clone. That's basically
Right.
Ganon, and then we can just go balls to the wall with Ganon.
Huh.
And we never ended up going with it.
Some
Yeah,
other people did that though. Like I know there were their own people that made like like Phantom Ganondorf or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah, like I remember that was around.
yeah. And like honestly, like I'd love if that just like became official. Like I think that's what Echoes and crap are supposed to be in Smash. But oh well.
Yeah.
Uh, I would have enjoyed if we did that. Trying to think of other like clone characters. We never talked about like Shadow the Hedgehog. I know that. Like
Was Dixie Kong one of them? Someone might have said that. Like that someone threw out a
we
lot.
did discuss the idea of like a Diddy clone, Dixie. It didn't really get anywhere.
Okay.
Again, I don't think we had even the beginnings of a test build or even like like not even like a document put together talking about what she could be. Um, yeah, Isaac, obviously.
Oh, Skull
I
Kid. Somebody said Skull Kid to me on there.
Oh
Was
yes,
that? Because I know that was
that was
teased. There's like a rabbit hole with Skull Kid. I know that. I looked up the number. I forgot what it is. Like the
47.
47, yeah. And somebody explained it on Reddit on a really old post that they were like, yeah, we made that as a joke. But then like retroactively we were like, wait, we could do something with this and actually make him into a
Like
character.
like yeah, like character number 47. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
2005 Reddit thread. Seeing as 47 appears to hint at Skull Kid.
yeah.
We that was just like us like having fun. Like
There was somebody
uh
who he like commented. I had no idea who this guy was, but he was like, "Yeah, we did dice around like Skull Kid. Like someone made a few animations, but that was really it. It wasn't that far off, and like it wasn't far in development really. It was just like an idea. I heard there was like a lot of just like let's try that, going around and stuff.
yeah, we definitely like um right when like the Clone Engine like the possibilities started being discussed, we definitely had that like, oh God, there's like, you know, the only limits are like a couple of hardcore engine limitations and our imagination and our work ethic. Like, where do we go from here?
Right.
And so we actually kind of cracked down pretty early in terms of like, hey guys, like if you want to do something, like you can do a little bit like on your own, like try not to involve too many people because we don't want to like distract from, development as a whole.
Wow. That's cool.
Um, and we started trying to have people like sort of draft like character like design document like character concepts because we didn't want people to waste 2 months doing brawl box and smash attacks and stuff like that. um, so we maintained pretty focused on that, so there's actually not a whole lot of like cut character stuff per se.
Any
uh, we
uh
appa-
any like other like things you wanted to include or anything like that you were like, oh, couldn't make it or whatever.
One, I just found a folder with we had like a whole bunch of sound effects that we were actually supposed to be using for Lynn. I don't think those got included in
Oh
the official
wow.
build.
I
We
was
had, like,
gonna ask the guy who made Lynn. I really wish, because I made that video like discussing her
yeah,
as well, and I was like, I could tell like the influences for Lynn were like very on the sleeve of the character.
yeah,
There was someone who was like, yeah, it's taking from like a Mugen character mod of
yeah,
Lynn, and the voice actor's like the same as that mod, and there's like similar move animations and stuff, and then you see it and you're like, wow, it really is, kind of this Mugen interpretation of the character. Like it looks really cool.
yeah. Oh, yeah, so I'm looking. We had so sort of rough like peek into our development scheme is we had a folder called what we called like an incubator, which is every single person had their own little like incubator folder that they would just toss sort of unorganized stuff in.
Right.
And we had literally like 73 incubator folders. And then
Wow.
usually like as development matured, we were very like stringent on like, hey, unless it's like something small or like something super agreed upon, like don't toss stuff in the main build until it's like sort of been talked about. And so usually you'd go from the incubator to we had what was called the test bed, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then from there, if people sort of agreed on it, then you would move something into the like the main PF build. So that I'm like skimming through. Yeah, we still had 14 characters in test bed when we stopped development, which is kind
Wow.
of interesting. Unfortunately, we used a program called Tortoise SVN for our versioning, and the server for that dropped recently. Well, not recently
Oh.
now, but a few years back. So we don't have all of our changed logs written down anymore. Like
Oh no.
I tried looking through my machine to see if I'd have like a local version cached or something, and I couldn't find one. And I tried asking a couple other people, and we
Dang.
couldn't find it. So unfortunately, we can't get like the full because we had like you could count like how many people like made changes to a certain folder, and every time you changed something, you had to document what you were changing. We were pretty actually organized on that front, but unfortunately, I think all of that's been lost. So. But other character concepts. I know it came back in Project Plus, right? The Bowser
I
Fireball.
was gonna ask that because I remember there was leaked builds of that like way back in the day, and they were like, oh, they were experimenting with this, and it did come back in Project Plus eventually, which is cool.
Yeah, there was a. I don't know if you know an old Bowser melee main Gimpy Fish.
I've heard of him.
Uh,
Yeah.
he was he's a cool guy. He lives in Washington State with me. Or I think he does. He used to. Um, and I remember him like back. I mean, he was like old Melee famous. Like he was super popular. Like he did a video series called like Brawl Talks before Brawl even came out.
Oh,
Where
okay.
he was optimistic on that before we knew better. Um, but to his credit, they actually Brawl got worse as development came out because apparently you used to be able to L cancel moves by fast falling them, like in old like prototype Brawl, which would
Really?
have like totally changed that
You could
game.
L cancel in Prototype Brawl. He found that out. Wow.
Yeah, but you do it by fast falling. If you fast fall a move, you would just cut its leg in
Right.
half,
Okay.
which is
Wow.
just like nuts and way easier and stuff, honestly. But anyway, so he was like sort of famous from that, and he was a Bowser main in Melee, and so he joined Project M at one point, and he was a fantastic tester, and we did like a 16-hour long stream or something just crazy, and we were like overnight stream.
Wow.
And that's probably the last time I think I've pulled a like an all-nighter like playing video games. But like we literally like this is like development was more relaxed back then, so we were allowing ourselves to show off stuff that may never like see the light of day. As time continued, we kind of cracked down on what we were publicly showing folks.
Yeah.
And Bowser's Fireball was part of that. And so we
My friend really loves it. My friend Jeremy is a Bowser main, so he loves that fireball.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad Project Plus brought that back because I think it was more interesting design wise.
It helps him a lot.
Playing Breath is stupid.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And it doesn't like it doesn't fill any niche in Bowser's move set. It doesn't like
Yeah.
it's dumb.
And they
I
gave
was super
Charizard like a Thunder Punch too. Like I don't know.
that I'm more
That might have
but yeah.
been newer for P plus.
Yeah, P plus did add that. Flavor wise, I'm not a fan. I get it's like a competitive thing. They're like, aha, type coverage. But like, like literal. I think that's literally like part of their like it's used in like competitive Pokemon. So
He
they
can learn the move, so why not? You know, there's that type of
exactly.
thing.
And I get that. That's not my design philosophy per se. Like I think it's Charizard. Everything should be fire. Um, even like I thought the Rock. Yeah, Rock
Yeah, you
Smash was
guys
stupid
did
for
that.
many
That's right. You
reasons.
took away Rock Smash, and you got that was a good thing. That was a
Yeah.
good thing. I think
Um,
Sakurai realized like I don't know if he changed it later. I can't remember, but like yeah, great job on
yeah,
that.
yeah, I think it was in Smash 4, but wasn't in Ultimate.
He
I
might
don't.
have changed it to like side B to down B or something like that.
Yeah, and then when Down B became Pokemon Trainer again,
Yeah.
they got yanked out of. But I liked what we did. I really liked our Charizard. Granted I'm not a Charizard main or anything. I did do Charizard's intro animation. I don't know if they ever revised that, but like if you actually look at it, it's like the worst animation. Like I think it's like his down smash animation or something, but like rotated and with a bunch
Oh.
of fire effects on it. Because
Wow.
we like after we decided to split up Pokemon Trainer, we're like, oh crap, we need like a down, we need a down special and we need an intro and like eventually we need to do like a final smash for him and we're like, oh crap, and so like that was my super lazy fix for adding it. And it looks cool. Like
It
you get
works, yeah.
Charizard flying from the sky and he hits the ground and there's a big loud explosion sound and there's flames and if
Yeah.
it works, man.
Yeah.
Like
Is there any other concepts because I remember there was rumors there was like ideas for like oh this could be in 4.0 like when you guys were still in development or whatever, but I don't know if like how far like any of those ideas actually got or anything like that.
I think 4.0 would have had Lin in it, and Knuckles. I would have been surprised if we would have pushed out another major patch version without those two.
Right.
Because Knuckles was so friggin' close, you know, he was just polished basically. Um, I don't think you would have seen any other characters until
Later on.
4.5 or 5.0 or something. I don't know what our version numbers would have been. You know, we had fun with our version numbers anyway, you know, with 1 and 1.5 and we did 3.6, so I don't even remember our version numbers
Yeah, it was like
anymore.
3.5 and 3.6. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then 3.6.1.
Yeah, someone added some like bug fixes or whatever.
Yeah. Other stuff, I'm trying to think, like, I wanted to get rid of Sonic's side B, but that's just me.
Oh, that move is like competitively, it's so good. It's
I know. I hate it.
I
It's
hate
so
it
good that I
competitively
hate
too,
it.
but I know Sonic mains love it. It's their main like bread and butter to that character.
Yeah. I think what I wanted to do was like sort of like you take some of like the stuff that you can do with side B, like how you can jump out of it
And wave dash
like
and stuff.
put that on his down B, and then I wanted to make his side B like the modern Sonic boost, and I had sort of coded
Is
it
that
out
like
a
from
little bit.
Adventure or
No, well, no, this is from like Unleashed and
Okay.
henceforth. You know, that's what Sonic does now. He just like he runs really fast and he just like blows stuff over that he runs past.
Right.
But I thought it would have been interesting because it would have been, I think in the air it would have been sort of like a crappy like spacey side B sort of. Like you would have just like sort of gotten a little bit of a boost out of it and then like probably gone into special fall. But what I wanted to do was have it be move that had like a little bit of a startup, like little less than a second probably, of like sort of him like bracing himself to run, and then he would have like rocketed forward really quick, sort of like I think like Banjo and Kazooie have it in Ultimate,
Okay.
but not
Yeah.
Invincible because that's stupid. But it would have
Yeah,
been
that
like
move is
sort of
strong.
like that like powerful like rocket forward, and then it would have actually transitioned into a run.
Okay. Wow.
So like again, it's one of those like you don't know if it's gonna like competitively work and be like not toxic as hell, but like I think it would have been interesting to have a move that would have transitioned into a state of run, and it would have like that's so Sonic,
Yeah,
you know,
that's what he does.
and it would have gotten rid of his spin, so everybody would have won.
It would have got one. Yeah, one of his spins would be gone. Yeah. Yeah.
So there was that. I wanted. Did his. What's his up tilt now? Was his up tilt still the Brawl?
I think it's like a
up tilt, or was
kick. It's like just like
it's the flash kick.
Yeah.
So that was actually at one point that was his up smash,
Oh wow. Huh.
and that was me. I wanted to make the little ball spin thing his up tilt because
Interesting.
I think it would have worked quicker as like or better as like a super quick like he basically turns into a ball and bounces forward, you know, upwards really quick, and it could have been like a little bit of a juggle option, and then made the flash kick his up smash. But there were people who were like, "That's just Fox's up smash," like ugh. And so I think it's part of why it didn't happen. And so instead we made it his up tilt because nobody has a flash kick up tilt, so it's unique.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I like those new animations like for Sonic because they definitely add like so much character to him.
Yeah.
Wolf too. Like Wolf was another
Oh, yeah.
character where he in Brawl like definitely copied a lot of like he was definitely probably made at the very end, so they like copied some stuff from like other characters and like making Wolf into like a really iconic iteration of the character in my opinion, where it's like pretty much the basis for like every like the melee mod like definitely took some inspiration from PM, and Zeta Burn from Rivals of Aether like also
Oh yeah.
definitely took inspiration from PM Wolf. Like that's an iconic version of that character.
Yeah, I'm very happy with what we did with Wolf. At one point, we had Wolf instead of jump canceling his shine like the other species, he had the Smash 64 Fox ground cancel, which was like weird. And I think it's standardizing it just sort of made more sense and was easier to sort of design around. But yeah, he definitely at one point had the like you would ground cancel his shine instead, which was interesting. Like that's why like PK Fire also would activate on Shield.
Yeah.
You know, back in like the 3.0 days, is
I
because we're
remember
like, it's Smash 64. Like, And I think
There was a lot of Nintendo 64 influence in a lot of the characters, by the way, like Toon Link.
Yoshi has his up tilt, I
Yeah,
think. Uh,
Toon Link has Link's up B, like from
yes, and that was
64.
me.
Oh
That
wow, I'm just calling all these. I
yeah,
loved that. Yeah, I thought that was like genius. Like way to cover both options of the character. You know.
and that was like I think a little bit of like my own personal design philosophy changing around like making recoveries worse a little bit because Toon Link with like the Brawl Toon Link floaty huge
Oh
up B
yeah,
was so like just obnoxious.
it's too
Like
good. It's like made to like just easy butter, just get back on stage. You know.
exactly. And I think that was actually that idea for his up B, I think actually came from that little like Smash Fest I was mentioning before with Gimpy Fish, where we stayed like apparently if you stay up for like 16 hours playing Smash, like it's you just have ideas
You
come
just
out.
come up with stuff. That's
He's
really
like
cool.
because he was just like, and I think that's I don't know if that's where the idea came from, but I know Gimpy Fish also was the one who had the idea of like buffing Mario's down air, where it like sort of like sucks you up into the move a little bit more. That's a Smash 64 thing. Um, but yeah, he also I think is the one who had the initial idea of like, what if you took Toon Link and you gave him, Link 64's up special, and I think I spent like an hour or two kind of rigging it up, modifying the animation to work a little bit better and tweaking the hitbox and the values for the boost, and it like instantly,
It
like
clicks like when you play.
it's
I
just
feel
like
like it's
this
really
is awesome. Like
yeah.
yeah, like you take a kind of a floatier, character that's more mobile that like already has like decent survivability and you nerf his recovery, but then you also give him a
A
cool like
KO
KO
option that's
move.
really
Like it
cool.
just works so well.
Yeah.
And I think we had to nerf it. I don't know if it was after 3.0 or right before 3.0, but it was like really strong at one point. And then we're like, no, you gotta you gotta make this worse.
Right.
Uh, we had a couple of like moves where like sometimes a move would be like the hitboxes on it would like not quite work all the way. And so you'd sort of like this was partially like before Brawl Walk, so that you actually see where hitboxes were, which
Right.
like after that we had to go through like the entire game again. Um, but you'd have a move where like it would be sort of inconsistent, and so like we'd like make the hitbox bigger or make it more powerful to like well when it works it's good. And then like I think we fixed some of those moves, and then like later on, we're like, oh crap, now it just works all the time and it's really good. So we had to like sort of like, and I think Toon Link's up B was one of those because it had like a dead zone, like it kept like missing really early on, and I think I added like a body hitbox or something, which sort of like fixed it, but then like never nerfed the like how powerful it was, and so we had to like go back and tweak that. But
Pit was
um,
one of the characters where he was really strong in 3.0, and then like I remember when 3.0 3.5 happened, like Pit was like all the Pit mains like dropped him. They were like, we're done
dude,
with this character.
I had so during like COVID stuff. Um, I've been doing like grocery pickup from our local grocery store where you put in your order ahead of time and have it delivered to you. And so one time I was actually going to wear it to this, but I couldn't find it honestly. I have a Project M shirt,
Oh wow.
and I think I was actually wearing my Project M sweatshirt too, because I think it was like last winter, and I happened to be wearing my PM sweatshirt, and the guy who's like delivering our groceries was like, is that from that like Smash Brawl thing? And I was like, yeah, actually. And I didn't want to like get into it too much. And I was just like, and he just like out of nowhere started just complaining about Pit.
Oh my
Like
god.
he's like, yeah, they totally ruined Pit later on, and like his
Oh,
recovery got really bad, and like nothing worked anymore. And I just like I had to bite my tongue because I wanted
oh
to
my
get out of it.
god. That's
It was just
crazy.
funny.
Small
And I
world.
had, and I had another guy who like right when 3.5 came out, like was a big Pit main and like was
Armada.
super complaining. No, it was just like some local guy that I was
Oh okay.
playing with. And he was one of those like had that like kind of scrub mentality where everything sucks, you know.
Oh yeah. It's not the character or whatever. It's not me. It's the character. Type
Yeah,
of thing.
like
Yeah.
and like I don't care if I can do if you made a move like require just a little bit more talent, but be better, it sucks now because it's not as easy as it used to be, sort of a thing. And so, yeah, I remember he like super complained about Pit, and I think that inspired me to like pick up Pit for a week and just like beat him in a Pit Ditto and
Oh
be like, look,
man.
okay, the character's fine. Like,
He did get some like buff, like they gave him some love in Project Plus, which like I was like happy for, because now people were like, yeah, we can do certain things, but it's not 3.0 obviously, because 3.0 is crazy, but
yeah, because he had like the crate, like
crazy recovery, by the way,
yeah, because he
just
had multi glide,
limitless.
didn't he?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he could come off stage, like come at you and like shoot you, and then like fair you, and then just like come back, and it'd be fine.
yeah, and there's like you could like jump cancel out of the glide super early on, and then like you could combo them with arrows,
Yeah,
and then like
you saw Armada doing it all the time, just like
and then
sniping.
like keep chasing after them with side B, and then forward air them, for the gimp, and then just like fly back.
It was cool to watch, but like it was definitely like busted, Like
Yeah,
I'm okay with it being gone.
yeah, we definitely had some times like that. What else did we have ideas for? Um, Link's boomerang. I remember we had a couple. At one point, it was a Smash 64 boomerang, like
That's
straight up,
right. It was
and
really
like
good. I
it was
remember.
really like
It was
it knocked you like
amazing.
straight up,
You just
and
throw
it
it.
went out really far, and it was still pretty quick. And then we ended up. God, I think it was Gimpy Fish again. I think literally just because he's like a pro player that I was like geographically close to, and him and I would just like shoot ideas out. But he had the idea of like, dude, what if it was like quick and didn't go as far? And so like that took a lot of like revisioning, and
I remember the
I
early
mean,
on versions of that. Like that was so good for him. Like it was it was a little busted, but like he
it
could
was a little
throw it out
much.
and just like go do it again, and hit you. It was
Yeah,
great.
and he had the yeah, because he like we also removed the animation unless you were standing still. If you were like walking, he no longer stopped and did the catch animation, which was like a huge thing because it was super annoying if you were like running after somebody and like your boomerang flew back to you, you'd stop and catch it, and then
Yeah, and
if you
then
were
get
like if
hit.
you'd still be holding to the side, you'd like start walking instead, and it just
Yeah.
like so we changed we yeah we changed what interrupts what that animation would interrupt. But yeah, at one point we like didn't quite balance out the like the catch or like the not catch with like how quick you could throw it out, and like because Link's boomerang is like if you hit like within like the first like 5 frames of the boomerang coming out, it's like a stronger hitbox. It does like 16 damage or something crazy.
Hmm.
Um, and was like the combo starter, and so you could just like combo them with the boomerang, and
Yeah.
it was nuts. But yeah, we that definitely needed to be balanced out a little bit. Um, Link's I don't think we ever put it on Link that originally Toon Link's forward smash was more Smash 64 Link focused. Like he just sort of like swung, and we changed that into the forward leap,
Yeah.
which was way better.
Oh,
Um,
now that this came to me, Slippy was in the April Fool's like video.
oh God.
That I'm sure that created a lot of like, and you guys would show Ridley every now and then. Like Ridley would like be at the very end for some reason or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
we do. Yeah, we tease the like the Ridley silhouette. I
When
think
you
we
guys
did our
showed Slippy, I was actually kind of excited for like a fourth Star Fox character. I was like, how is he gonna play? Or whatever. But then when I got older, I was like, oh, it's probably just like something that like an alt scan or whatever they threw together or something.
yeah. I think the model was like actually had some work put into it too.
Oh wow. And
I
there was
don't
the Ike
think we ever
climbers too. There was like
Ike Climbers
that
was
was
hilarious.
yeah. I know that
That
was
was
just
a
like for
code.
fun, but
That was a code that would like make player 2 like copy player 1, but like we added the like the 5 frame delay or whatever the Ice Climbers have to actually like make it sort
it's
of like
crazy.
legit. That was hilarious. I don't remember. I think that was just somebody made a bad pun. Like they're just
Oh,
like Ike Climbers, and we're like, cool. That's our April Fool's Day joke for this year. Trying to think of other stuff we had.
Yeah, what was Slippy though? Was he just that idea, or like was someone adamant about Slippy being in the game or or
I think we had
something?
one person probably who wanted Slippy, but I don't think, I mean, it didn't go anywhere. I think we had like some ideas of like, what if Slippy made you trip or something
Oh
like
my
that?
god.
That like, I don't, I don't think there was any sort of like build per se. Let's see. Slippy T-pose. Sorry, I'm like a little bit looking through our
Oh
photos.
wow.
Yeah, he like yeah, I got his full model here.
Did you
But
have animation? Like I feel like he did like some sort of like Slippy esque animation in the video, or am I
yeah, he did
wrong? The
like a
dance
pose
thing,
like
whatever.
this.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, I think that was taken from another character. Like I think we were
Like
pretty
Fox or something, or maybe.
somebody else like I don't know, Lucas or somebody, like we took like just sort of like stole animations and sort of hacked it together to make it work enough for the April Fool's Day joke. Um,
And there was Ridley. Was that just like was that like a Skull Kid thing where it's like it's kind of a joke or whatever, but like
yeah, Ridley was never going to be in PM.
that's what I thought. Like like the Ridley mods back in the day were like very kind of amateur in the very back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, well, technically we have whose file was that? Sorry, I'm like
No, you're fine, man. You're
I
fine.
literally searched our so apparently there was a Ridley character that was built. I don't know if I have Brawl box even anymore to even open it up, but like so apparently there was a Ridley file but I don't think any work was actually put into it.
Was K Rule an idea as well? Like I remember Smash Boards people would talk about K Rule, but I don't know if he was
We
actually
no
no K Rule.
which is a shame actually. He's like probably my favorite Ultimate newcomer.
He's really cool in Ultimate. Yeah, they
He's
did
not like
well with
he's
him.
not good. He's like the only character I think I have any fun playing
But
in that
they
game.
capture like K Rule essence of him
Yeah,
in that
and
version. You know, it works.
he works super well as like the heavyweight who just doesn't care. You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like K. Rool when I'm playing K. Rool, so I think he's definitely one of the best designed, even if he's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, yeah, I think we had other characters. Yeah, like Pichu was like very roughly sketched out, kind of like I was saying. Um, yeah, we really didn't. Fortunately, we didn't waste that much time on characters that didn't go anywhere. So
So I think when PM originally shut down, and if you don't want to say anything about this, feel free. But
yeah,
I know initially like everyone was like, "Oh my God, what happened? Where's everyone going? Why did it end?" But then like as time went on, like as the years went on, we got like more answers from like other like like Nintendo like wants to have a partnership with Twitch, and one of the things with Nintendo was like, yo, PM can't like exist on Twitch or whatever. It's gotta go away, stuff like that. Was that like kind of the dark cloud that was like over PM the whole time, where it was like, oh, Nintendo one day could like snap or whatever and take us away,
yeah, we definitely had that like that fear. And as that's why we were like super when you're talking about adding characters in the game. One, we didn't want to take anybody that was being added in Smash 4, because we didn't want to like be seen as competition for it. And we only used characters that appeared in Brawl in some form, which
That's
also
right.
was sort of a limit to like who we included. I think Sammy was like a sticker, which was our justification for it. Um, but Ridley was obviously a boss. Um, that's why Gino didn't get to go anywhere. Actually, that was like we were also afraid of Square Enix because they can be sort of
That's right. I heard like
aggressive.
the guys behind Snake and Sonic, you were worried about like what they would thought about it or whatever. Maybe.
Yeah, I reached out to Aaron Weber, who used to run the like Sega's PR for like Sega of America, and was like, "Do you think Sega would sue our pants off for Knuckles?" And he's like, "I don't think so. I think you're good." And we're like, "Cool." And so that was it's like a super casual like on a message board that we happened to both be part of.
Oh wow.
I was like, I understand you're not talking as a representative for Sega here, but Sega's super cool about people using their IP for the most part, you know, especially with Sonic characters in particular. Um, but yeah, we like in terms of like kind of seeing what was coming down the pipeline, like when like the tri-state area stopped doing our stuff, like we sort of understood like there was that like time in the Smash scene where we're like, we're gonna get Nintendo's approval for stuff, and they're gonna sponsor tournaments,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be awesome, and everybody's gonna live happily ever after. And that obviously never came to fruition. I'm kind of glad that like there's sort of like that backlash of people realizing that like they were
Yeah,
never
it's
gonna do
kind of
anything
messed
for us
up.
anyway. Like
Yeah.
that, like people sort of open their eyes on that. And you know, maybe I'm not saying never, but like Nintendo has to do some definite corporate mindset changes and modernization to ever actually like kind of accept it. And I think it's a cyclical thing. Like every time a new Smash, like when we get, you know, the next Smash 6 or whatever, like people are going to be like, cool, Nintendo's wanting to do tournaments again. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason why. And they're going to
Yeah.
stop doing it after the game comes out, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we never had any hopes of, you know, having a fruitful relationship with Nintendo or anything. We did actually, when Smash 4 was first being shown off, I don't think we did it. I think we did it as sort of like unlabeled Smash modders. We actually like tried to like reach out to Nintendo to advise them on like some like character or like engine bugs that we had seen that had persisted that like came from Brawl and like existed in Smash 4
Oh
like
wow.
proto footage as well. Like we warned them like and I'm sure this letter never made it to like a development team or anything. But, the like the up B like end lag glitch, like certain characters in Brawl, like I know Marth is one of them. If you like up B, and I think it's if you up B and grab the ledge, and then I don't know if it's if you like ledge hop up or something, like you end up with your up B lag later on.
Oh wow.
And that's actually in Smash 4 too. I think it's fixed in Ultimate. I can't say for sure, but we actually like broke down the Smash 4 footage and we're like,
You
oh
found
my
it
god,
out.
this glitch is still around. Like they
Wow.
never fixed it. And I think we also tried to explain the virtues of like Melee's landing detection for like landing on stage because that was a big thing in Project M development. That was like one of our big watershed moments is when we could actually like do melee landing detection because that's huge for you
Yeah.
know wave dashing and you know like wave landing.
You guys changed
and
the game on that. That made that mod like just something
yeah,
else.
it made it actually feel like it should, and you know Smash has never done that. You know, since Brawl, they've had the landing detection point is around where your character's feet would be if they were standing up. So like certain characters like Link can like barely forward air somebody that's standing up. Like I don't even think he can forward air like Pichu. Like it just doesn't
Yeah.
hit because he lands on stage beforehand. And we tried to like be like, hey, look, like we've included like graphical examples of like here's Ganondorf trying to like down air and he lands before his attack comes out. Even though like he warps to the stage and it looks like shit. Fix this, and of course they never did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we saw Smash 4 coming and we knew it would like when it was announced, it was very bittersweet because like I loved the intro trailer with Mega Man and stuff. But it was like and this is an end of an era sort of a thing.
Yeah,
So
the writing was like on the wall in a way.
yeah.
It did kind of suck. It just like kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if I heard from other devs. They were like some of them didn't know it was like coming either or whatever, or some did, some didn't. But yeah, I remember at the time it was like, oh, whoa, like this is over. You know, it was different back then.
Yeah, it was definitely only the back room had fully known about it just because we didn't want any sort of leaks to come out. Like the second we did discuss it, like I think some people had started to like trickle out news before we put it down. But I think we broke the news to the dev team like within 24 hours of when we put the official like notice on the website. Like it happened quick.
Yeah.
So when we made the decision to stop development, like it was a sudden like
Was there a nail like on the coffin? Was there like one final like this is it or whatever it was?
it was the realization that like we didn't have much hope of like fair use or anything sort of like actually protecting us, and we were getting to the point where like especially like the senior devs like we were adults with jobs and families to mortgages and stuff like it very quickly like the calculus sort of changed where it was no longer worth it for us.
Yeah.
And just like knowing that like one like with copyright infringement stuff, like I'm not a fan of it. Like I think the law in the US is crap. But like you don't have to get a cease and desist order. They can just sue you. They can just sue you for everything you got
Yeah.
and more. And so it was just like, well, we're just gonna stop development and do our best to discourage like, we had that like year plus where we kind of discouraged people from like continuing, Project M development. Um, Partially, who were, whoever wanted to pick it up, saying like, hey, look, like, Nintendo could be breathing on your back. We don't fully know this. Like, we have a feeling they are.
Yeah.
They
knew.
so
We found out later they did know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for your own good, Like, stop it. And it's also, it obviously protected us too because we didn't want to be kind of seen as like associating or like we didn't want to like take down development, but then like super obviously be continuing it. Like,
yeah.
So when we canceled development, we flat out we canceled it, and it sucks that like people made the association of like Wave Dash or Project Wave Dash.
That's right.
Wave Dash
Yeah.
Games or whatever. Like there were like
icons. Comment arena.
there were like two devs, like Strong Bad. And I think like an animator were like the only
was it
one,
Virium?
and maybe
I
like
don't know.
Warchamp.
Maybe not.
Yeah, and I like it was literally like 2 or 3 people from the dev team worked on that into any capacity.
It kind of dragged that game with its own problems and stuff like that.
But it just made people make that association. Like there's a subreddit that's called like Project M died for this or something.
That's right. I've seen that. It's very cursed and like edgy.
Yeah, it's very. I think I looked at it like twice just for like to sort of laugh at it.
It's
but then
weird.
It sort of frustrated me at the same time.
It's so weird. I mean,
like you guys know nothing. I'm not gonna get an internet argument for this, but
it's like kind of like with things when they don't have like when people don't know, they just like make their own assumptions. It's like with UFOs
rumors spread
or whatever.
Fast, man.
Yeah,
I think it shocked us even. Like we know, like we had, we'd have leaks and stuff would come out, and it was always surprising. Like some people knew like everything, and then some people just knew nothing. Like, and so we should have sort of seen more rumors coming out, but we just For us, it made more sense to just not say anything, even if it did let the rumor mill go a little bit. So,
because Project M got big. Like there was that time period where it was ran in like a lot of big tournaments, and it was like the main headline.
Yeah, we'd have
game.
I think we had a couple like 300+ person tournaments, in person, where it was being featured as like melee, PM, dot dot dot, 64 brawl, like sort of a thing,
Yeah.
and which was awesome to see, and it was fun to watch and stuff. Obviously, it's there was actually a point on on Amazon, if you like looked up like a Brawl CD, like it would be like people who bought this would also buy
An
a 2
SD
gigabyte
card.
SD card.
Yeah.
I have a screenshot of we were on the front page of IGN, and they did a piece on us.
They did. That's right. I think maybe Watch Mojo did too, or where they were like, "This is like one of the best mods like of all time, like number 2 or something like that." Like I feel like a lot of big companies were talking about Project M.
We did the interview with IGN. They did like a spotlight in on GameStop. They did like a sequence of videos. They had like 5 videos or something, where it was just like some journalists over there just playing it and talking about the game too.
That's right. They did that when Roy came out and Mewtwo.
Yeah.
They were really hyped on that. I was too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were playing on the Castlevania stage, which we took out later on because we realized it broke our IP infringement internal rules. We're like, there's no and then of course, freaking Simon and
Oh, that's right. It was Castlevania. It was Castlevania.
Yeah,
that's right.
and I think
I did love that stage.
I didn't make the stage. This was like back when we were more casual about like what we were doing. I got permission from somebody who took that stage from some game, some like Konami game, like imported the model and then made us, imported it into Brawl and made that. I took that stage and like made it more like competitively viable. Like I think I shrank it a little bit and like made it perform better by like reducing the resolution of some textures, and I added the platforms that move. I did that sequence.
Is the stage kind of similar to like Delfino's Secret? Like how
it is Delfino's Secret.
Oh, it is. Okay. Wow.
And so we made in 3.5 or 3.6 we made it Delfino's Secret.
Wow.
Because we were like, we can't have a Castlevania stage here, and honestly, it doesn't match the rest of the game whatsoever. And
wow.
And I was impressed that we actually managed to like make that like idea. Like Delfina's Secret was like pretty good, like lipstick on a pig kind of a situation. Like you're just like, yeah,
it's a nice reference.
Our own custom stage.
Yeah.
Same with Skyloft.
That's right. Yeah, that's from the Wii, the Skyloft, Skyward Sword.
But Skyloft was originally a like super crappy hacked version of Temple. Like it's a Temple layout, and that was me. Again, I was this weird jack of all trades during the earlier days of Project M. So I had made a competitively viable Temple, which was basically exactly what the Skyloft stage is. And then originally it was just Temple, like it had the Temple background and stuff. And that was like in the model hacking days before bottle hacking days, where you could only change like the vertexes on stages. You couldn't like add any like vertices or anything. And so that was me just like shrinking and like removing parts of of Temple, like the left side of the stage to like make it sort of fit, like to be playable competitively. And then later on we're like, let's make it a stage. Skyward Sword just got announced. Let's make it that.
Yeah. Any other any other things you want to include? Any other maybe things you were arguing about on the dev team, like, hey, I want this on Lucas's moveset, or I want this instead, or any other interesting facts?
I had an idea. I had the collisions done for it, but it never got anywhere. So the Metal Cavern stage it replaces Mushroomy Kingdom or whatever it's called.
The side-scrolling stage. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a two-part version of that stage. I wanted it one side to be Metal Cavern, and I wanted the other side to be um, more of a like have an above ground theme. But my gimmick was that it was going to be the exact same stage but flipped horizontally. But instead of being Metal Cavern, it would be like above ground themed with like mushrooms and stuff instead of like crystals. And I think that would have been sort of cool. I think it would have been sort of just like a neat gimmick because it's like literally the same exact stage, so you don't have to worry about like stage legality or something. It would just be like it's like a mirrored mode. Um, Maybe if development had gone on longer, that's something I could have like made happen or something. I think I'd sort of given up on it by that point though. I'm trying to think of other sort of stuff. No, I mean there's just
The Wario
there's a
Land
lot of
stage, I really love that recreation of the Wario Land stage in
oh yeah.
PM. That is like chef's kiss. I love how it's
Oh yeah.
done.
And I think if time had gone on, you would have definitely seen more stages. Like the, I think Isaac would have ended up getting that lighthouse stage that like has come out in other hacks.
That's right. Okay.
Because the dude who made that, oh, was that Van Rose maybe one of the modelers? He was the one who actually helped me do a bunch of the Isaac modeling. He did like the Isaac, like the Ragnarok sword. I think that was his stage, and so we would have obviously done like a modified version of that in PM. So had development continued, we would have gotten more characters and more stages, and it would have been cool.
If only.
Yeah, I think balance-wise, like Project Plus is in a pretty good spot. Like I don't think we would have done anything like super crazy that they didn't do or anything. You probably wouldn't see Thunder Punch on Charizard. I think I would have complained about it a bunch. Other than that, not really. I think a lot of the leaked stuff has sort of covered up everything that we were going to do. So
That's cool.
Oh, I take it back. We were totally going to have a 64 mode. We were going to have a special.
Oh
like,
yeah,
mode.
that was like teased. I think that now that I remember that. Yeah.
And we had models for a fair amount of the cast. Like I think we had like 23 plus characters that we had 64 models, either copied from Smash 64 or other games. Take Bowser's model from Mario Party or something.
Right.
So eventually we could have had that, and that would have been neat. But, oh well.
Yeah. Well, if that's everything, I appreciate you for coming in on this interview. I definitely like was hoping to one day like one of the devs see my my video or whatever, be like, oh, I used to make this character or whatever. Like I was really happy to see that. So I appreciate you coming on to this, man, and talking about PM and stuff like that. So
yeah, it was nice chatting with you, man.
Yeah. So all right, you guys, peace out, and yeah, have a good one. Peace out.